Yeah. So with that in mind, that you basically had 3 months to put that on, now you're talking about this one like year in advance, basically. Like we're about 10 months away. What do you plan to do different about this one? Because the last one, like you said, it was so stuck into a smaller field. This one seems like it's going to be more for the masses. What are you looking towards putting on different for this event as opposed to the first one?
Yeah, it's a lot different. It's bigger and better and grander and more fun and all those things, right? So it'll be a whole weekend. We'll do an expo on Friday. We'll have the pro athlete press conference on Friday, all the hubbub surrounding that. On Saturday, we'll have a 5K open to anyone, all ages and abilities, right at the crack of dawn, 7:20 a.m. And then immediately following, we're going to have what we call the Gold Wave Marathon. So this is for amateurs. This is not the pro race, but it's still controlled. We're going to have 1,000 people, 500 men, 500 women, on that same criterium course, and we're going to treat them just like the pros. So they're getting the pro treatment, right? They're getting an indoor warm-up area, bathrooms. They can drop their stuff off right at the start. They don't have to get shuttled out to anywhere. The Sheraton Grand is walking distance from the start finish. We got a great room rate for everybody. Personal fluids, all the things that the pros get, these folks are going to get. So it's a total VIP experience like you're never going to get in any other race if you're at that level. And pace groups. So we're flying pacers in, we're putting them up, and we're talking about pace groups like 230, 240, 250. Those folks never get pace groups in marathons. So it's a really unique, and I mean that in the truest sense of the word. It is a completely unique marathon on Saturday, this Gold Wave Marathon. And then we'll have a party afterwards in the parking lot right next to the start finish. It's going to be awesome. And then Sunday is the culminating event of the weekend, which is the professional race, which this time will have 200 people, 100 men, 100 women, really fast fields, prize purse, the whole deal, broadcast live, all those things. And that's the weekend.
Yeah, that's exciting. And going back to what you were saying about the people that are around that 230, 245 range. So I coach a decent amount of marathoners that are in that range. And things like bottle placement is something, or in like fluids, is such a foreign concept to the point where when I first started picking up athletes, the thing I would say, they would ask me nutrition questions. I'm like, oh, just drink as much from your bottle as you could. They're like, I don't get bottles, dude. Like, I need to know gels. I need to know how many to take. What miles do I take? In that moment, I was like, this is going to take some research. I didn't think about that. So the fact that they're going to get that kind of same treatment, I think is going to be a game changer for them. And maybe even a mental shift, because it's like, you're not stuffing your pockets with 20 goos, or you're not carrying all these blocks around and trying to figure out which products don't mess with your stomach. You actually get those same type of, like, you can go hard on the Martin or the Tailwind or whatever you use in training with the fluids.
Well, you said it right there at the end. I mean, that's what's so unfortunate is, and I get it, if it's a 50,000 person race, you can't do it. I get it. I totally get it. But we're not trying to be that, right? So these folks train really hard. I mean, if you're a female and you're running 305, I mean, you're working really hard, right? And it's a bummer because all throughout training, you're using your sports drink, you're using your gels, whatever that may be, right? Whatever works for you. And then on race day, you're stuck to whatever the race has. Well, that's not what we're doing, right? And we're so think about this. This is going to be the only amateur race in history that has offered this to its athletes, right? To its participants. This will be the largest, personal fluids program in marathoning history. The largest to this point was about 700 at Atlanta in the Olympic trials there. This will be 1,000 people all getting bottles. So we're going to have 2 different stations on the course. It's a loop. So we'll have 1A and 1B, right? So you'll get 1 bottle per 4.26 mile loop. It's, I'm trying to think of this time. It's 125 total tables, 8 bottles per table. Wow. And we're going to pull it off. We're actually bringing in Sam Grotwald, who works with the New York City Marathon and works with the pro athletes there, and he's helped out at Olympic trials before. We have David Katz, who's measured and worked with many of the Olympic marathons over the last couple of decades. So we're bringing in an all-star cast to put this on for these folks, and we're going to do it right.
How do you staff all those stations?
Lots of volunteers. Lots of volunteers. Yeah, we've already, believe it or not, we've already started the volunteer recruitment process in Phoenix. We have a wonderful ownership group, myself and Josh and Matt, who I've already mentioned, and then a woman named Katie Sutton, who's the president of the Festival of Miles Foundation in St. Louis. So they put on the Hoka Festival of Miles meet, the all-star meet for the high schoolers in June. And she's part of our ownership group, and she's also our VP of athlete experience. And so she is in charge of volunteer recruitment, and she's doing a great job.
Yeah, that's quite the undertaking. It sounds like you've assembled a really good team. You said 500 women, 500 men. How do you determine the cutoff?
Meritocracy, descending order list.
Nice.
What we're doing is we opened up registration on December 18th, and we said the first wave of entries goes all the way till April 1st. And so anybody can sign up. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what your time is, you can sign up. If you are a male and you've run under 245, you're in automatically. If you're a female and you've run under 310, boom, you're in automatically. Because we need the majority of the people to be sort of in that range logistically, because it's a loop course. We don't have to have everybody in that range, but we need the majority of people. So we'll process those payments, we'll push those people in automatically. And then on April 1st, we'll just go down the list and we'll take the top 500 men and the top 500 women who've signed up to that point. Now, if we don't have 1,000 at that point, which we might not, but that's very early to decide. Then we'll open up another wave of registration that'll go to all the way to September 1st, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll just go down the list. So there is no cutoff until we find out who the people are.
Nice. So you're giving everyone that elite experience, which I like. And the other thing that I noticed was the wave starts, right? In the big marathons, you have those waves and you have to get to the start line super early. You're sitting out there shivering and you get right to the start line here. And I think that's going to be a really good experience too.
Yeah. Let me say something about that too. We're not knocking those experiences.
Right.
I've done Boston, those are awesome races.
Right.
We're just acknowledging that there's room for something else and something different.
Right.
And I think that, to your point, if you've done those races before, you're probably saying to yourself, gosh, I wish I didn't have to sit in this corral for 45 minutes. Gosh, I wish I didn't have to sit in the bathroom line for an hour. Yeah. Gosh, I wish I didn't have to freeze my butt off outside. Well, we've eliminated all those things.
Yeah.
And so we're creating this experience for you that you've kind of asked for. And we're giving it to you. But you know what? You've earned it, right? You've earned it with those 5 a.m. runs before work, with the mile repeats in the dark, the long runs in the cold, all those things that you've done. You deserve this. You deserve this opportunity. And so that's what we're trying to do, is give people an opportunity to, our tagline is run as fast as possible. That's what we want to do.
That's awesome. And what another thing I was reading about was the experience, the Marathon Project experience. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So that's really my labor of love deal, where I just couldn't get away from coaching completely, even though my focus is definitely on the race and definitely on putting on the race. I really enjoy working with people and coaching. And so I wanted to combine those passions and find a way to create a coaching program, but I didn't want it to be all year long. I didn't want it to be 100 people. I wanted sort of an intimate experience. And so the TMP experience is 15 people who are all doing the Marathon Project. I will coach them personally, individually. I will write individual plans for them. I will talk to them every week. I'll write it just like I would for the pros, same kind of concept, right? And we'll sort of form a team, these 15 people. So I'll talk to each of them a couple times a month, video calls, but then we'll also have a full 15-person team video call once per month. And then we'll come out, I'll bring all those people out to Flagstaff. This is all involved in the cost, or this is all part of the cost. We'll fly them out to Flagstaff for a weekend, and we'll train together, and we'll bond, and we'll go on a long run and all those sorts of fun things. We'll have some cool dinners. meet some fun people, and then we'll meet up again on race weekend. We'll eat dinner together. We'll have a motivational talk, all those sorts of things, and then we'll run the race, and we'll feel like a team. So that's the TMP experience, and that's open to 15 people. You can apply to be a part of that program. I'm sort of looking through all the applications and just seeing who fits. Ideally, we get everybody sort of in the same kind of time range right now. Everybody who's gotten in so far is right around 3 hours, give or take. And I think that's a good kind of range. And yeah, we'll get to 15 eventually. And that program will start, like I said, 16 weeks out with the coaching, but probably 20 weeks or so out is when I'll start really having these video calls and figuring out where each person is in their training, so I could start writing the daily schedule.
In your opinion, what would a successful experience look like for the gold race people? Like, if you had to paint out a picture perfect, I'm first time doing this gold race. I've run the Bostons, I've run Houston, I've run LA Marathon. I've done all of these bigger, like big name, big box races. And now, like, I feel I deserve my VIP treatment here. I want to get that PB. So what, in your opinion, do you think would look like the perfect experience for that one? Someone that's maybe a little bit more tenured, that's done these larger ones, but is now trying this because of like the uniqueness that your project has to offer.
Well, what I hope is that they get a PR or that they run whatever time they want to run, but I can't guarantee that. Some of those things are out of my control.
Yeah.
But as far as what we can control, we want to knock their socks off, right? Start to finish, from the time they sign up to the time they leave Wild Horse Pass Resort. We want them to enjoy their experience. I'll give you an example. Even now, when people who sign up and get in, when they get in, they're getting a personal email from myself or from Katie, congratulating them on getting in, asking them if they have any questions. I mean, you can't do that with a 50,000 person race. You can't have this one-on-one interaction. And so we're trying to make it intimate and premier from the get-go. And so when you're asking me what would make it a success, well, I want them to leave feeling like we gave them every opportunity to run as fast as possible. I mean, that's our North Star, right? Give these folks every opportunity to run as fast as possible and enjoy it, right? Enjoy the weekend. And I think some of the things they're going to be able to do that are so different than anything they've been able to do before, I think those things are going to be really well received. And I know this athlete. I've worked with this athlete for so long. I used to own running stores. And so I've talked to so many people that are sort of in this range and have done the big races, as you say, and have these sort of, little nitpicks with those races. And we're just trying to eliminate all those things and just give them that professional feel.